Hey everyone, welcome to Refocus. Before I get started with the video today, I wanted to take a moment to thank the community for all of your views, likes, subscriptions, comments. With your support, we now have over 100 subscribers and we are doing a giveaway. The details are in last Wednesday's short rest video. We'll try to throw a card up so that you can check it out. Uh, and best of luck in the giveaway. Now, today's spell that I wanted to go over is an iconic spell, the shield spell. I'm going to be looking at how each version of the shield spell works in their own systems, as well as comparing the three versions against each other. When it comes to comparing the three versions against each other, I'm going to be looking at their action cost, their duration, their mana point slash spell slot cost, how they interact with magic missile, do they protect others, what the bonus that you gain is, and are there any extras for upcasting or just extra features beyond what you would normally expect. So with that, let's transition over to the 5th edition version of Magic Missile. So we see here that it has a casting time of 1 reaction and a duration of 1 round with a range of self. And what it does is provides a +5 bonus to armor class against the triggering attack, and you take no damage from magic missile. So we have a bonus of +5. It does help against the triggering attack. It does last until the beginning of your next turn, and it prevents all magic missile damage. It has no upcast and no extras. So this is kind of our baseline. In 5th edition, this is a very good spell. It helps prevent a lot of attacks from landing, and any spellcaster or marshal, say like an Eldritch Knight, is happy to have this spell. When we look at the Pathfinder version, this one is probably one of the more complicated ones. It is an action. It's also a cantrip, where the 5th edition version was a first level spell. Being a cantrip means that you can cast this spell over and over again. It also automatically heightens to the level of the highest spell slot that you have. Um, Only the odd numbered ones, though. So if you look at the bottom of the chart here, it heightens at 3rd, 5th, 7th, and 9th levels. The heightening increases the hardness. When you look at the spell itself, the bonus that it grants is a +1 bonus to armor class. As an extra, this version allows you to shield block with the shield spell. Normally, you need a special feat in order to shield block with a regular shield. And the base hardness for this shield block is 5. In Pathfinder terms, that means that if you use your reaction, you can reduce the incoming damage by 5. And if you have it heightened to any of those other levels, you can reduce the damage that you take by those amounts 10, 15, 20, and 25. The problem that the Pathfinder 2nd Edition version of this spell is going to run into when we try to rank all three of them against each other is the fact that after you shield block, the spell ends and you can't cast it again for 10 minutes. So while it is a cantrip, and within Pathfinder 2nd Edition, this is a good spell, not being able to cast it again after you soak damage for another 10 minutes that you can't cast it is going to really hurt its rankings. When we look at the DC20 version, the DC20 version is a little bit complicated. It's a cantrip, just like the Pathfinder version, so you can cast it nearly an infinite amount of times. The cost is one action. The range is one space, and that's important because it means that you can protect yourself or somebody else within one space of you. The trigger is the same as all the others. The same as the 5th edition version, and it is a reaction. You grant a +5 bonus. Noteworthy for DC20 is it has 2 defenses, physical defense and mystical defense, and this is going to protect you from, it's going to give you a +5 bonus to both of those. And then there's mana point enhancements. Just real quick, for 1 mana point, you can increase the range of the spell to 5 spaces. So if you saw somebody in D&D terms that was 25 feet away that was going to get hit with a spell, you could essentially cast this as a first level version by spending 1 mana point, and you would grant that shield bonus to that person. This really has the feel to me of Doctor Strange, where you like put up a mystical barrier and you could even protect other characters with it. Multiple targets. If you had an area of effect and you wanted to protect yourself and somebody else, you could do that for 1 mana point. And you can increase the duration to the start of your next turn, thereby making it the same equivalent as the 5th edition version, where it lasts until the start of your turn. Also pretty cool is when you reach level 3, you can spend 2 mana on the spell. When you reach level 5, you can spend 3 mana on the spell. So once you reach level 3, let's say, and you can spend 2 mana, you could use shield and increase the range to 5 spaces, and then increase the duration to last until the start of your next turn, thereby providing a more permanent shield barrier for the person. So, very flexible spell, and it should be no surprise then when we get to the rankings that the DC20 version is going to have a lot going for it. So now let's take a look at the rankings here. In DC20, let's see, the action cost, we have DC20 1 action point as a reaction. D&D 5th edition, we have it being a reaction. And Pathfinder 2nd edition, it's 1 action point. I think the flexibility of the DC20 version is going to win here. And the reason is that being a reaction, unlike in Pathfinder, means that you can cast it when you need it instead of having to preemptively cast it. The fact that it takes your reaction in 5th edition means that you don't have your reaction free for anything else, like counter spell or opportunity attacks. And also, you can't cast it again, although you wouldn't really need to in 5th edition based on how it works. But in DC20, you could cast this 4 times between the rounds, or you could also spend the mana point to make it last for the full duration of until the start of your next turn. When we look at the duration, we have instant for DC20 with an asterisk. The asterisk, again, because you can spend that mana point to increase the duration. And the other 2 systems are until the start of your turn. What we have here is essentially the same across the board, as long as you're willing to spend the mana point on the DC20 version. And with that, I think it's a tie straight across. If I wasn't clear, DC20, I was giving the action cost, so we've got a tie for the duration. Mana point spell slot cost, DC20 0 with an asterisk. That again, because you can spend mana on it. So while it is a cantrip and it doesn't cost any mana, you can spend the mana. For D&D 5e, it's a first level spell slot. In Pathfinder 2nd edition, it is a cantrip at 0. When it comes to the cost of the spells, I would say it looks like DC20 and Pathfinder are tied at no cost. However, the fact that once you shield block, you can't cast um, the shield spell in Pathfinder again for 10 minutes, I think is um, a huge penalty to that version, because while you can cast the shield spell in Pathfinder Second Edition over and over again, that's only if you choose not to shield block, and if you do, then you can't cast it. So while it's not costing you anything to cast it, I think that is a negative, and I would give that point to DC20. Interaction with Magic Missile. This is going to be the one that DC20 loses, as it has no interaction with Magic Missile. The 5th edition version blocks Magic Missile entirely, and the Pathfinder 2nd edition version, you can shield block the damage from Magic Missile. So the 5th edition version, I think, just cleanly wins this one, as it blocks the entirety of Magic Missile. If you shield block Magic Missile, you have a chance to reduce some or all of the damage, but it's not as guaranteed as it blocks the entirety of Magic Missile. Can it protect others? This is going to be a clear win for DC20, as yes, it can, and it can't protect others in D&D or Pathfinder. The bonus that you gain, +5 for DC20, +5 for D&D, +1 for Pathfinder. And the winner here is going to be DC20, and that's based on the system. So let me explain. In Pathfinder, that +1 bonus is good within the system. Every +1 matters. However, in DC20, you have a buy 5 system where every 5 that you beat in a physical defense by or a mystical defense by, you're going to deal more damage. You're going to upgrade to heavy hits, brutal hits. And this +5 then means reducing damage as well. And the 5th edition version is just a static, you hit or you don't hit. So I think that the DC20 version, plus the fact that it's going to 2 different defense types, is the winner out of the bonus that's granted. And then we have the extras. So DC20 has the mana point enhancements. Just to quickly reiterate, it was to increase the range to 5 spaces, to target a second person, or to increase the duration to the beginning of your next turn. So that's a lot of extras. The 5th edition version has none. You can't upcast it. It doesn't have any other things that it can do. And then the Pathfinder version gives you the ability to shield block with it. And if it's heightened based on your highest level spell slot, it will have extra hardness and extra ability to block that damage. But again, this is tied to that negative of, if you shield block, you can't cast the spell again for 10 minutes. So I have to give this point to DC20. And when I go over the chart real quick, that's DC20 winning action cost, tying the duration, winning the mana point spell slot resource, losing the magic missile, winning protect others, winning the bonus, and winning the extras. And I would have to say that DC20 is the best version of Shield when comparing the 3 together. The 5th edition version did win the magic missile category, and also tied on the duration, with Pathfinder just tying on the duration. So that's all I have for today. Again, thank you for getting us to 100 subscribers. And as a reminder, we're going to be live on YouTube tonight for the first time. So if you want to check me out running DC20, I will be running my conversion of the Pathfinder 2nd Edition beginner box, Menace Under Otari. and looking forward to that. So I'll catch you later. Bye.
Hey guys, it's Allie with Roll With Us DMs. Gary is starting a delve on June 24th for session 0. It's called Menace Under Otari. Most people would know that from Pathfinder 2nd Edition, but Gary has converted it for DC20. If you'd like to join, check out the Start Playing link down below. Thanks so much. Have fun, guys.